#1 station.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Welcome back to the program. Zev Brenner. We're looking at the tragic murder of a beloved Gabbay in the Upper West Side of Manhattan at Rabbi Vorhand Shtibel Congregation Heichel Moshe, located in the Upper West Side of Manhattan, under the leadership of the Prager Reverend Moshe Vorhand Shlita. And I'm referring to Igor Yitzhak Elishaviv, who was 45 years old. He went to Turkey on a mission to photograph beautiful mountains and wildlife, the third year that he's doing. And unfortunately, according to the Turkish media, he was stabbed in an altercation where supposedly his killer, Ishmael, was drunk. They were drinking, and he's allegedly in prison, but we're trying to get the body back from Turkey. It's been over a week right now. Our guests include Mayor Weill, the president and CEO of Misaskim, doing amazing work and trying diligently to get the body back. And of course, Rebbetzin Sara Vorhand, Esquire, who's a criminal defense attorney, the Rebbetzin of the Vorhand Shul. And also, we all knew Yitzchak so well over the years. So Shavua Tov, thank you for all of us for joining us. Let me first begin with you, Mayor. I know you have the daunting task of Misaskim trying to retrieve her body from a foreign country. It's hard enough when it's in the United States. It's much more difficult dealing with a foreign country such as Turkey. So tell us about your efforts.
First of all, good vach, Zev, and good vach, Rebbetzin. I want to first take this opportunity to thank you personally for everything that you've been doing, and for the West Side community, the Bukharian community, all the help that's been offered, whether it's politically, financially, and it's been a very big chizuk to all of us to keep on going with this case. As far as what's going on in Turkey, this is not the United States. It's a third country. It's very hard to cut through the red tape there. We're trying to cut through the red tape. The embassy in Turkey and the funeral home that we're dealing with in Turkey have been very helpful. The bigger issue is that the paperwork takes forever to get done there. We're talking about where Yitzchak is and to the embassy is approximately 400 miles away from each other. And to get paperwork from there to there with a courier service, this is the only way, because it's right now, they only allow any type of release and anything to be done only with original paperwork, not with email.
Email doesn't work, correct?
Email does not work. No, they can email to give them a heads up, but to actually do something, you need the original. The other problem is that they have their hours that they work. I think 9 to 4 or whatever it is, and they're 7 hours ahead of us. So even I've been up early in the morning speaking with them, but it comes 9 o'clock here American time. It's already, the day is over there. So everything that's the only thing that's taking time. But I do want to say, based on other cases that I've dealt with in other countries and based on what I'm hearing over there, we're only a week into, not even a week into this from when we found out and we started working on it. And we are progressing and we are moving ahead. The community has to understand also, had this been a regular death, it would have been easier. The fact that this is a criminal case is making things a little bit tougher to cut through the red tape.
And of course, you have to do forensics, autopsies, and what's a
forensics and autopsies, and we're also working on his equipment. We don't want to stress on the equipment now because it's more important to get Yitzchak back here, but we are working on the equipment to get it back here eventually.
So let's focus just for a moment on the equipment. What you mean is that Yitzchak took between $40,000 to $50,000 worth of photographic equipment to film and to take pictures of the wildlife, and we have no idea where the equipment is. There are those, and we'll speak to the Rebbetzin just right now, there are those who believe that this crime was committed in order to steal his equipment. Rebbetzin, the good vach, thank you for joining us. Sarah Shlevitz, Vorhand, Esquire, thank you for joining. I know we were all close with Yitzhak. We've known for so many years. It's a terrible tragedy for the community, those in the Shul in the Upper West Side, the Mukharin community. But tell us about Yitzhak. I know that he was an important part of the Shul, and he helped so many different ways.
Yitzchak was everything, especially this Shabbos. We especially felt the loss. He set up the Kiddush. He welcomed everyone. He was just a very kind, humble person. And it's just devastating. So many people came to the Shul to stop by, and it's just hard, for the Shul because he was so close to everyone. He was connected to everyone. And Rabbi Weill's been so amazing. My husband's been speaking to him all the time, and I've had other cases dealing with Misaskim and their wonderful work in very sensitive, tragic circumstances. And, Mika Amcha Yisrael, we're all standing together as one, and we just want to give Yitzchak the proper burial that he deserves. And as a former prosecutor also, as Rabbi Weill mentioned, about a murder investigation, we also want to make sure, of course, that justice is served, but we want to expedite getting the body back because we believe the investigation that they took but anytime there's a murder, there is certain forensics and, different procedures that have to be followed. But we're doing everything. Rabbi Weill's been working around the clock and my husband to try to bring the body back, to America so that we can have a proper that he can have the proper Jewish burial that he deserves timely.
Timely. Unfortunately, it's untimely. Now, Yitzhak, let's talk about his family, who he has remaining.
Yes. He has an uncle, and the uncle has two sons that Yitzchak was very close to. He was always talking to them and loved them very much. And he has his beloved mother, Mazel, that he always spoke about. And from what I understand, she's devastated. That was her only child. And that's why it's also very important for the burial to happen as soon as possible so that there can be, a place for everyone to daven and for his mother and for his family. But the Shul also, we felt like family to him. And he also, lived by us, resided in the Shul for many years. So we all feel like his family. And he made everyone feel like family.
No, he does. And he also bought food for the Shul. He brought sushi and other times. I know there were times when we needed a minyan where I went out with him on the streets. We actually schlepped people off the streets. And he was not afraid to go into other shuls and say, we need you for a minyan. And I was just at Young Israel, the West Side today, and people came over and they said, they remember he's not the person who came in and asked us to join it for a minyan. So he did what he needed to do to help the Shul in every facet possible.
Yes. Even my parents who are elderly and not so well, he always was there to help them and to help there was an elderly Jew in our Shul, a wonderful man who's a Holocaust survivor. He would bring him food, take care of him. And he was kind like that to everyone. And we want to make sure that he's remembered in that way because the papers in Turkey are making it sound like it was just an everyday drunken altercation. We don't even know if that's true. Plus, Yitzchak was someone that the Shul has alcohol. We never saw him drinking. And he, we want to make sure that his legacy is preserved for remembering him as the kind and amazing person that he was.
Now, Mayor,
Zev,
go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead. Ask. I just wanted to add in that there is also an aunt, this uncle's sister, which it's an uncle, Yitzchak's mother, and another sister who's also been very much. We have a chat that we're on together with the funeral home over there, and we're working. And as I'm on the air now, Zev, one of the people that you recommended, just sent me a WhatsApp that they're working on, which is what I've been asking everyone to work on, to get an email copy accepted rather than the original, because that would cut back on a lot of time.
No, I think the mayor's office reached out to me, and I think I've reached out to people in the State Department. We're trying to get this thing done as expeditiously as possible. And unfortunately, there's red tape, and it's a different country. I know, Mayor, you tried reaching out to the police. I know it's even hard to get a hold of them. Forget the language barrier. They don't even return your phone call. Maybe they don't understand English, I guess. Remember, This is not Istanbul. This is 400 miles away. There are no Jews in this region of the country. The closest Chabad house is about 150 miles away. So we're talking about a very remote part of the country that may not be as sophisticated as Istanbul.
The closest Chabad house, by the way, is an hour and a half flight.
Wow.
Wow.
Not miles, an hour and a half flight. I've been in touch with him, and as far as this is a very remote, very remote area that there are no Jews there, and I think that the Rebbitzin can also verify. There is a language barrier with the police, but I do have someone there in Turkey speaking to the police. As we know here in America, even if there's a case and there's evidence, you're talking about months down
Yeah.
the line before
Yeah.
they release it. This
Yes.
is not something that
Yeah.
happens right away.
Yeah, and I know as a former prosecutor, there's also, besides the forensics, there's chain of custody, that there's a lot of technicalities that go into successfully prosecuting a case. And if one of them is ignored, a technicality can throw out a whole criminal case. So, when you're dealing with a
So-
murder investigation, that's also something that has,
Right. And as far as chain of custody, Rebbetzin, I didn't tell you this before, and Zev, I'll say it on the air now, that there is a family member that we already put down to the police department there that should be the next of kin with a chain of custody where the evidence should be going to. So we are working on both fronts, but the most important is Yitzchak.
Yes.
Clarify that point. So the police department has been in touch with you regarding the homicide investigation?
With my person it happens to be the lady from the funeral home has really, really been great. And she knows that there's a language barrier. When I first was tasked with this, I made a lot of phone calls to a lot of different funeral homes, and I finally found one that she speaks English. Little did I know that when we were hooking the family up, she also speaks Russian. So, it looks like that she is the right shliach for this. And she's been in touch with the police and the prosecutor's office. But I don't think that's right now. That's not in the gear right now.
But normally speaking, in a homicide investigation, the police reach out to the family and
Yeah.
want to get information, and they want to be in touch and give them some results. And I'm just wondering, because in addition to the murder investigation, there's $40,000 to $50,000 worth of equipment. Yes, I know the priority is getting the body back, but it's a belief of some in the shul, and I believe that too, that this could very well have been a murder to get $40,000 to $50,000 worth of photographic equipment. And I just was curious to know about not only the equipment, also the police. Are they investigating it, or this is something which they figure it's a foreign person and will just, move on? That's what I'm concerned about too.
So I think they are investigating it. The fact that everyone believes that it was because of the equipment just makes that timeline to get that equipment back much, much longer. So, if that is the case, in Mietchem, we should get it back, but there's definitely no time to know when.
We're looking at a tragic situation. A very beloved individual, a Gabbay of the Rabbi Vorhand Shul congregation, Heichel Moshe, in the Upper West Side of Manhattan. I'm referring to Igor Alishaviv, who was murdered in Turkey, in a remote portion of the country. And we're trying to, at first step, get the body back to the United States so he can have a proper Jewish burial. Mayor Weill is working tirelessly. He's the president and CEO of Misaskim, and he's been on the phone, as you heard, and going through a lot of red tape. And believe me, there's a lot of red tape in Turkey in getting things moving to make sure the body gets back to the United States. Rebbetzin Sara Shlevitz Vorhand Esquire is the Rebbetzin of the Vorhand Shul, where Yitzchak was there for many years. And then we're looking at his life. We're looking at what could be done to honor his memory. We're going to be right back. We'll try to take some of your phone calls, 212-769-1925, 212-769-1925. Email is a wonderful way to get some of your questions answered, zev@talklinenetwork.com, zev@talklinenetwork.com. And we are reaching out to people to help get rid of the red tape or to reduce it so we can make sure that it's done properly. Coming up a little while, we're going to take it to Israel. We'll speak to one of Israel's top generals. We'll speak to General Yossi Kuperwasser, who warned Israel before October 7th about the impending attack. He was ignored. We'll be speaking to him a little later on. Of course, you'll have a chance to converse with him as well. We'll be right back. Don't go away. Stay tuned. This is the Talkline Network.
This is Shani Heikind inviting all of Zev Brenner's listeners to an amazing event on Wednesday, May 21st, when American Friends of Ateret Kohanim hosts its annual Yom Yerushalayim celebration. And this year, we are honoring Emily Austin, who will be presented her award by the one and only Sid Rosenberg, and Jeffrey and Barbara Kelman from New Rochelle. Last week, our enemies set fires to destroy. Ateret Kohanim builds. We give life. We spread light. And we want you to play a role in keeping Jerusalem united with Jewish life. Call me, please, 917-297-2075, or you can go to ateretkohanim.org/dinner, ATERETKOHANIM.org/dinner. Be our partners.
Hi, this is Trudy Stern, and I want to invite you to join me for Nothing But the Truth Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. You will hear nothing but the truth from leading elected officials and experts about world events and current issues affecting our community. So join me, Trudy Stern, Thursday night at 9:30 p.m. on Zev Brenner's Talkline Network, WSNR 620 AM, WNEW 102.7 FM HD3, and online at talklinenetwork.com. Hope you will join me as we delve into nothing but the truth about current events that affect our community most.
Are you ready to meet the visionaries, diplomats, pioneering high-tech and business leaders shaping the future of Israel and America? The Jerusalem Post and Talkline Network invite you to the Jerusalem Post Conference on Monday, May 19th at the Pierre Hotel in Manhattan. Join some of the most influential voices in Israeli and U.S. affairs, thought leaders, change makers, and iconic personalities, all in one room. Hear from special guests like Steve Witkoff, U.S. Special Envoy to the Middle East, actor Liev Schreiber, Montana Tucker, Benny Gons, Ambassador Danny Deneau, Nir Barakat, Liz Savesky, Julia Hart, Siggy Flicker, and many more. Seize this opportunity. Book your tickets now at JerusalemPost.com and enjoy an exclusive 50% discount by using the code TLJP. That's JerusalemPost.com. Use the code TLJP for your 50% discount. But hurry, seats are limited and they're going fast. Be part of history. Be part of the conversation. Hobnob with the movers and shakers. So get your 50% discount tickets at the JerusalemPost.com using code TLJP. Don't miss it. Go to the JerusalemPost.com, code TLJP. I look forward to seeing you at the Jerusalem Post Conference on Monday, May 19th. Are you looking to create extra income for yourself or for your family? Well, Talkline Network is looking for go-getters who are looking to generate more money by getting involved in the lucrative world of selling radio and TV time, as well as commercials and podcasts. You can work part-time or full-time. We pay high commissions for those that are motivated to sell radio and TV time. If you're interested, please contact us at 212-769-1925, extension 100, 212-769-1925, extension 100, or info@talklinenetwork.com. Ideal for students, for retirees, for housewives, anybody looking to generate extra income. Again, that's 212-769-1925, extension 100, or info@talklinenetwork.com.
All aboard! There's a new way to travel, and it's one of the oldest forms of transportation, travel by train. Yes, consider traveling around the United States on Amtrak. Traveling by train is a lot less of a headache than taking a plane. And you'd be surprised how many places you can go on an Amtrak, and there's no passports or IDs needed. Find out how to get where you're going as soon as tomorrow by train. Call the Amtrak Travel Hotline right now. We'll book your trip and email your tickets within minutes. Skip the drive to the airport and skip the lines. Call right now to book your Amtrak reservations. We service most of the United States.
All aboard!
Do something new. Travel by Amtrak today.
800-460-3570. 800-460-3570. 800-460-3570. That's 800-460-3570.
Hey, this is Alan Dershowitz. One of the most important Jewish institutions in the world today is Talkline with Zev Brenner. He is so smart and he is so innovative and he has so many interesting guests. I don't know what Yiddishkeit, I don't know what New York, I don't know what the world would do without Zev. So Zev, Yasher Koach, may you go from strength to strength and keep informing us and educating us and keep fighting for Jewish values.
This is your number one station.
You're listening to Talkline with Zev Brenner, America's premier Jewish broadcast on the air since 1981.
And now, here's your host.
Now we're back. We're looking at the tragic stabbing to death of a popular Upper West Side Gabbay at Rabbi Vorhand Shul congregation, Heichel Moshe, Upper West Side of Manhattan, as I said, referring to Igor Yitzhak Shaviv. And we're taking some of your phone calls. And with us right now is Mayor Weill. He's the president and co-founder of Misaskim, and they deal with all kinds of situations regarding to death. And this is a very unusual case, and Mayor is putting a lot of time and effort to get the body back from Turkey, where he was stabbed to death. Rebbitzin Sara Shulevitz Vorhand Esquire is the Rebbitzin at the Vorhand Shul in Manhattan. Let's go to take some phone calls. Let's go to Duvi Honig of the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, who has connections with Turkey. Good luck, Duvi. Thank you for joining us.
Good luck, Zev, and thank you for having me on over here.
I know you had an event the other night with Turkey and Pakistan, so you would certainly have connections there. Can you be helpful in this situation?
Yeah, absolutely, Baruch. I'm already working on it. My son texted me about this Motzei Shabbos. He saw it on the news. I spoke to it for a while, and I spoke to Turkey. I spoke to the government. We have access directly to the head of the Antalya forensic lab. We have all the connections. There's the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce and that global, national, international lab. To be a Thursday night, literally, I was in the Pakistani embassy hosting an event that I facilitated MOU signing between the Pakistani and government Council General and Trade Minister with Turkey, and they applauded the Jew for putting it together. Baruch Hashem, the Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce, they thanked me for facilitating it. And people always wonder why we're involved in Muslim affairs, Arab affairs, and I always tell people by building bridges through commerce, we're able to influence. So the UAE case, when they had the Chabad Sheikh Nabakh was murdered, and they murdered in UAE, and they ran to Turkey, we got involved. We got the body released within one day, and then afterwards, the Turkish government asked me to put out a statement. I'm thanking the government, which I did, which people didn't know was behind the scenes involved.
So maybe you can be helpful here. This would be very important. I know you have good connections. So
we did. So they attacked us by you saying nice things about Turkey. Anyhow, I just have spoken already to the Turkish government from the president's team directly, and he said he'll do whatever he could take. In 2-3 hours, he's gonna ready. They're gonna be speaking. We also spoke directly with the forensic lab, with the contact at the head of the forensic lab in Antalya, and they're closed on Sunday. We're still going to try to get a hold of them, and what we have to help over here is to be able to help them recognize and accept the email and the fax to release his body and save a week to 10 days of back and forth. And God willing, Hashem, we are going to succeed in doing that.
Good. Anyway, thank you, Duvi, for all the work that you're doing, and hopefully we can get this resolved. Thank you for your call.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you. Thank you, Duvi.
Thank you.
Orthodox Jewish Chamber of Commerce. Here's an email question. Joseph wants to know, why was he in Turkey?
So he used to go every year for the past few years. Originally, he went to Turkey for dental work before I knew him, when he lived in Israel. And apparently he made friends there. And every year we would warn him not to go. And he felt comfortable there. He said that these are his friends, and he always came back safe. So apparently he went there first for medical and then for dental reasons, and then ended up going there for vacations for years after.
And he also was photographer.
Also, yeah, photographer for wildlife.
Right?
Yes, and he specialized in photography for wildlife, and he would go to remote areas in general to photograph wildlife.
Which is something which he enjoyed, and it's a dangerous place. But he spoke several languages, from what I understand.
Yes, he did. Yes, he did.
And perhaps you can also tell us about the outpouring that we've seen on the Upper West Side of Manhattan, where people have been coming in. I know you mentioned before about people coming to the shul. It touched a lot of shuls, and people I know are very, very upset. And we're concerned that the body get back, and also that justice be done. There's a feeling, and I've spoken to a lot of people over Shabbos, feeling that it's Turkey, and it's not going to get justice, not going to be done.
Right. So Turkey has not been friends with Israel the past few years, and the relationship between Turkey and Israel have not been good. So that's been a concern, because he is a dual citizen, and there are parts of Turkey, or maybe the whole Turkey, that are anti-Israel. So it was very promising to hear from the prior caller, Zobi Honig, about that, because from what we understand, Turkey has been anti-Israel and not friends with Israel, to say the least. For the
help we can take. Let's go to Solomon Flatbush. Solomon Flatbush, your question for our guest. Go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good luck, Zeb.
Good luck.
Yeah, and good luck, Mr. Weill. We davened together in the Hodenka Shul in Flatbush. I think we want to call to give a shout out. You couldn't have a nicer, more of a mensch, capable person than Mr. Mayor Weill. I'm sure if he's on the case, things will work out. So anyway, I wish everybody good luck in solving this case. And,
thank you.
Good, thank you for your phone. And you're absolutely correct, because Mayor, I've been talking to you almost every day this week, and I know that it's not easy.
I want to second that, because from prior cases that involve my law partner Mindy and I, with very sensitive cases involving horrific situations in the past, Rabbi Weill, with sensitivity, he's done everything to facilitate the covered on mace, along with preserving legal integrity and justice. And thank you, Rabbi Weill. That's Chesed Shalemis. And I also just wanted to say that Yitzchak, his uncle, said that we knew him, that he was always involved with Shmira. He would volunteer to do Taharas. So Yitzchak was someone that always helped everyone else with Chesed Shalemis, and Mida Keneged Mida. We have to be there for him to make sure that he gets the ultimate Chesed Shalemis and gets that proper burial and Tahara.
Now, absolutely. Now, by the way, let me ask you this, Mayor. It costs money. You hired a funeral home in Turkey. The body will have to be flown to the United States. All this thing costs money. Who was taking care of the financial end of this situation?
So this is what I was referring to in the beginning when I opened up, is that there is a GoFundMe page. I don't have it here in front of me. Maybe Rebbitzin, you know it. There is a GoFundMe page that money that people have been very warm to it, understanding, wanting to help, and they've been contributing, and Baruch Hashem, the money is coming in to cover all the costs.
Right, because Yitzchak himself was not a wealthy individual. And certainly, he spent money. He helped, as the Rebbetzin pointed out. He brought food to the shul and helped other people out of his own pocket. But he didn't really have much. So whatever the expenses for Turkey, there'll be expenses in the United States. Do we know where he's even going to be buried once the body gets here? Has that been worked out
yet? Yes. Yeah, it was worked out with the Bukharian Rav, that they have a place in Wellwood, the Bukharian section, and the family is very much wants everything should be done in sync in law and with the customs of the Bukharian community, and that will be done.
And even a few elite members of the shul even volunteered their own family plots for Yitzchak, because that's how close they felt to him. But of course, Yitzchak was Bukhari, and that was his tradition. And it's important that he be with his family and what his family wants.
Absolutely. It's so important. It's nice to see people are really getting together and helping out. And this is the way it should be. Unfortunately, it takes a tragedy for us to all work together, unfortunately. But it's important with that. As we close out, and he was a wonderful individual who we missed, on the West Side. And I'm glad that efforts are being made. And I hope that justice will be done. So even after the body is retrieved, I know, Mayor, your job is really with the body, but we do have to figure what can we do, Rebbitzin, as far as the equipment and the criminal prosecution to make sure that it stays on track.
Right. Well, we need assistance to be connected with who the prosecutors are. We're trying to deal with that, but it is a different country, different language. So I've reached out to several friends of mine that are federal prosecutors. I'm also licensed in the United States Supreme Court. So we're trying to speak to other prosecutors to get to law enforcement there, but whatever assistance we could get, if someone has a contact there, because we want to make sure that justice is done. And, Yitzchak was tragically and brutally murdered, and, justice has to be served.
So Rebbitzin, off the air, I will speak tomorrow to the one that we've been talking to, the funeral home, and I'll hook you up, no problem.
Thank
She's
you.
English is there, and she may be able to help you out.
Yes. We just need, more contact with who's prosecuting, and to make sure that, justice is served, especially when the next of kin is not in the country, doesn't speak the language. We have to make sure that the prosecutor's office knows that, we want justice to be served.
Here's an email from a non-Jewish listener. Rest in peace, martyred rabbi, perhaps Russian Orthodox Patriarch would help. The Russian Orthodox Patriarch has the ear of Russian Commander Putin and the Greek Orthodox Patriarch who lives in Turkey. Just a thought. We must be realistic. Turkey is anti-Jewish, anti-Christian, anti-USA. All right, just a thought, one of our listeners, but certainly makes it more complex to get anything done. Yes. Anyway, I want to thank you, all of you, for the work what you're doing. So first, you, Mayor Weill, as Saul from Flatbush pointed out, Mayor Weill is the president, one of the co-founders of Misaskim. They do amazing work on a day-to-day basis. But when you have a situation like this, murder in a foreign country such as Turkey, which does not have great relations with Israel, and you have to deal with the authorities and the red tape. So I know you're on the case, working diligently day and night. So thank you for your efforts. Thank you what Misaskim is doing.
Thank you.
And you, Rebbitzin, Sara Shlevitz, Vorhand, Esquire, I know it's a warm family. The Shul is a warm Shul. It's an inviting Shul. I know Yitzchak was part of the family, and I know it was a tragedy. It was felt by many, not just in the Shul, but in the community. And thank you for what you're doing, what the Shul is doing, what the Rav Moshe Vorhand Shlita, what he's doing, really to facilitate behind the scenes, to make sure everything is done, and make sure that Yitzchak gets a proper, respectful Jewish burial. So thank you.
Yes, thank you. And also you're asking about the GoFundMe page. It's a Chesed fund, and they're going to be sending out the link, and we'll send it to you, Zev, so that you can forward it to the listeners.
And everybody who can be helpful. It's just so important that people get involved, because he was not a wealthy man and he gave what he had. So this is as you said, a Chesed Shalem. It's a really important mitzvah.
He was so humble and kind, and just was there for everyone.
Time to pay back.
Yes. Thank you, Thank you for joining us.
Thank you, Zev. Thank you.
Thank you, Zev.
All right, we're going to take a break. We'll hear the latest news from Israel, and